Your life is a movie, and it's always being recorded by the people that are watching you. What are the actions that you're taking? If you could go back and watch that movie, is it something that you're proud of? Or is it something that you wish that you could redo? Back when I was a kid, we had VHSs. And if you didn't pull the tab, you could record over it. And you could go back and put a whole new movie on that cassette tape. Unfortunately, our lives don't work like that. They do work in the way that we can go back and reflect on those videos. We can reflect on those actions that we took, and we can learn from the outcome that those actions gave us. You don't have to choose to do the same thing over again. You can choose to do something different. And if the results that you got aren't in a line with the person that you want to be remembered as, if the actions that you took aren't getting you the results that you want, you can do something different. You can do something so different that it attracts even more people to you. I know you've been to a box office hit. I know you've been to the movies out there and you've seen a movie that gave you inspiration, that drove you to go do something different. I challenge you to look back at your own life, to view your own movies over again and find the things that you're proud of, and find the things that bring you sorrow and pain, and learn from both of them. Because your opportunities are unlimited if you can learn from the actions that you've taken. You can be the person that you've always wanted to be, but you're going to have to be somebody different. And when I mean be somebody different, I mean taking actions and doing things that that person may not have done so you can get the life that you want. Are you ready to put on a new movie? Are you ready to be that man? I believe in you. I think you can. Roll that intro. I want to thank you for joining us at the Man Up and Own It show, where we deal with situations that are uncomfortable for most men by telling the stories of other men and how they've overcome those difficulties. Today, I am honored to be here with one of my friends, Ken.
Hello, guys. I'm OK Ken, or Ken, but known as OK Ken for OK Ken Media, where we make media that makes you say, OK Ken.
I'm okay, Ken.
Okay, Ken.
So you've already described what it is that you do. Why did you get into telling the stories of others?
Because storytelling is very important. It's how I envision it as, when we were all kids and we were growing up, that we enjoy being told stories and kind of learning the life lessons and the lessons to be learned from people and what they're going through. And so with telling other people's stories and really just having that creative direction to spin it the way that I want to and write it all out and direct it and put it into my own creative way, gave me the freedom and the choice to really do what I enjoy doing and also make a living off of that.
Nice. What's your favorite part to do in your production?
Definitely the shooting, or either the shooting or the editing. But if I had to pick one, it would be the editing, because you can always, you can get that first take going through. And if there's something that needs to be doctored up or tweaked or done in a specific way, I have that skill set to kind of have that eye to make it the way that I really want it to be made, even if I didn't get it right the first time.
Oh, cool. So do you have a story about yourself and overcoming some of the difficulties in doing what you do that you'd like to share?
Yeah. So I'd take it to the first day that I got started doing what I do. And how I got started doing what I do is I used to want to be a live streaming YouTuber, gamer kind of guy. I was making videos and uploading them to YouTube, and some of them went off, some of them didn't. And whether the view counts or the like counts were there, what really made it worth to me was the opportunities that I got from that, or the networking opportunities. And so how I got started into actually picking up a camera and doing it versus just being a gaming creator and recording my screen, I put together a montage of everything that like I was good at doing in the gaming scene. So I'd put all my highlights, my best clips, and all that together. And I took a local artist song from Arizona. I put his song underneath my montage. And what he liked about the video, because he saw it because it was his song, he liked that it was the editing style that was on there. So he's like, hey, can you pick up a camera and shoot a music video for me similar to how you put this montage together? And I was like, I haven't done that before, but, I can do that. I feel like if I can do the editing, I can at least just, mimic the camera angles or something similar. And so I did that, and we shot our first music video, and it came out terrible. I was using automatic camera settings. The lighting was changing, and I didn't know anything about anything camera wise at the time.
All right.
And so from that point on, we shot that first music video, and I learned from the mistakes. I was like, okay, why is the lighting changing? Why is this there? Why is the framing wrong, or the camera angle? And so overcoming those difficulties or just what I didn't know at the time, I further progressed, shot more music videos with him and more videos, and I just lived and learned from that. Now I can use a camera at manual, I can change whatever setting I need to change. Editing wise, I can change whatever editing I need to do or make it exactly the way I want it to look. And that just come from the experience of putting it all together myself.
Now, did you have a moment where you thought about quitting?
I mean, it's having over a decade of experience from 2010, 2011, doing what I do. It has been challenging for sure. And I have never had the thought of this is I want to give this up, but I've had the thought of is this worth it? Is this worth almost going homeless and almost, separating or going to the trials with my relationship or with my family or with my mother about is this all going to is me pursuing my passion worth sacrificing all these other avenues?
And what was the answer to that?
Hell no. I'm going to keep doing this stuff.
Awesome. Do you think that drive and that determination gave you benefits past just the work itself?
Yeah. It has helped me so much with my personal development, my personal growth. I'm finally out there on my own because I was, living with my mom up until 18. And even when I turned 18, I moved out the day I turned 18. But I've had moments where I had to go back and live with my mom. And then you get very comfortable. You get very complacent living there. And recently this year in January, I had to leave. So I packed up all my stuff in one night, left, and I've been on my own since then, just kind of living in a living room type deal. And so, it's definitely just putting myself at the table or throwing myself at the fire. Okay, what do I got to do to survive out here?
Dude, and let's talk about throwing yourself in the fire. Recently, you recorded a group that I grew up listening to with a laptop.
Yeah.
Now, I thought that was pretty cool. And tell the world out there a little bit about that experience and the difficulties that you faced doing it.
Yeah. So in reference to what he's talking about, I shot for 3 6 Mafia And one of the video ideas that I came up with was shooting them on a laptop, just for the memes or just for the funniness of it. And so the difficulties that came with getting that gig or getting that shown up there, it was very unexpected, I would say, because it was kind of like the stars aligned at the right time for that thing. I recently met this contact from a Nico Rapakili's event.
Nico's been on the show before.
Yeah? Okay, no. He was throwing this men's event for his people as well, and I met this guy named Cassidy Torres there. And Cassidy had this other like media manifest group. And so for you to get into the media manifest group, you had to put some skin in the game to somebody else in order to like get some of the opportunities that was there. And so I put some skin into the game there, and he had the backstage all-inclusive passes to shoot for 3-6 Mafia. And I was like, hell yeah, this is dope. Like I've met some of the creators or artists that I listen to in this new age genre, and including everyone else that 3-6 Mafia and all them as well. And so I got invited to do that. I showed up. They gave me the backstage pass and everything, and then all my equipment died by the time that 3-6 Mafia got on stage, or like it was 3-6 Mafia got on stage. I was recording. And then my camera was like at 1%. And so I got enough footage of 3-6 Mafia to call it good. But I was like, well, what can I do with the rest of my time to make this useful or beneficial? And I was like, man, my laptop still got battery. Let's shoot it with my laptop. And so I did that. And it actually turned out to be one of my most viral videos.
Interesting.
For my page, at least. I have viral videos for others, but for my page, that one hit 13,000 views, and I had somebody follow me with the camera and record me doing it. So I was like, you got to get back behind the scenes footage of me doing this. Like, this is funny.
That's definitely a good story of showing that you found an opportunity in a potentially disastrous situation.
Yeah.
And not just a regular opportunity, but one that probably is a career highlight for you.
Yeah, definitely. I get a lot of questions asked about that one.
So in that moment when you were starting to recognize that there was a problem at hand, did you freak out at all?
There was a little bit of like anxiety going on with it. I was like, okay, all my equipment's died. There's still another act to go on after them, which was City Morgue. But I knew that I got all the footage I needed with like halfway through 3-6 Mafia set is when my camera died. So I was like, yeah, I know I got enough for my sizzle reel video for them to be included in it. But yes, making my camera survive the entire day, and from like 5 p.m. to almost 10 p.m. and getting it through there. By the time I got done with it, there was anxiety of like, man, I wish I could shoot more. I wish I could have got more. But I was pretty content with it overall.
Nice.
Yeah.
What advice would you give for another man out there that may be out doing his passion and found himself at a great opportunity and something like that would happen? What advice would you give him?
You know, it was crazy. My phone died too that night, so I couldn't even shoot on my phone. That's what I would tell him is, start shooting on your phone. But if something similar happened or even worse would have happened, and let's say I didn't even get to shoot 3-6 Mafia, that's something you got to take on the chin. That's something that you will not mess that up again. I'll tell you that.
All right. So we'll say they don't mess it up again. They're on to their next gig, right? They get another great opportunity, and boom, it happens again. What would you tell them to do to best capitalize on the opportunity and not walk away?
Well, for me to think of it, like if your job is to, like in the same passion of mine, and your job is to film, you got to find some resources that would be available to you. So maybe you got to take someone else's phone and start recording or doing it. Like, make something happen that you can record or document for that. Yeah, because those situations are tough because it's like, it's a one and done kind of deal. Like,
I think it was kind of cool that you used your laptop, because now not only are you still capturing the event, but all of a sudden you're an industry disruptor.
yeah,
You're doing something completely different and outside the norm. And what does that do for us? Everybody focuses on, okay, Ken.
yeah, shakes it up.
Absolutely.
Like being a wave maker.
You have any other stories? Like maybe a personal story of a similar situation that you had to overcome a difficulty that you'd like to share?
Yeah. I'd like to take it to something recent,
Okay.
which would be a more of a personal development thing. And it's not really business side of things, but as well as we go through everything on the business side, we're being entrepreneurs and we're going through stuff. Our relationship and the relationship dynamic and the quality of the relationship that we're having with a partner is very important to the overall mental health of that entrepreneur going forward. And so I recently got out of a 2-year sort of situationship, relationship kind of deal. And there was a lot of rocky foundation, a lot of rocky things that were happening during the relationship, but there was this is how I could best describe it, is that in a book that I was reading, or from a podcast show that I was also listening to, in business you have to fire the 7 and 8s, and the 7 and 8s are the people that are, they do their job, they're good at doing what they do, but they're just kind of doing the bare minimum to get by. And so what you really need in the business, if you have a salesperson or the assistant or the secretary that's taking care of things, you need the 9s and 10s. The 9s and 10s of like, yes, we're going to do this. I'm ready to do that. What can I do next to help, this company go forward? And so taking the business side of what I just explained there to a relationship side, so where you got your number one cheerleader, she's asking you, how can she help you next, and do all that stuff. It kind of comes into play with, now there's like, if she's a 7 and 8, there's kind of more things that you have to tolerate and deal with versus if you had a 9 and 10 on the team. And so what he was saying in the podcast is that the hardest people to fire are the 7 and 8s. And I had to fire my 7 and 8 to get more things going. And in the last 2 weeks since I've done that, things have just absolutely skyrocketed for me.
Nice.
Like, things have just taken off. I got a new business phone, new business iPad, fixed my car up more, and got more time to the business to do things that I actually wanted to take care of, instead of entertaining this person that was kind of just hanging around. And
Would you consider that an individual like that is probably a distraction?
Yes, completely.
And having a distraction in your life only slows down your potential progress, right?
Yeah. 100%.
So what would you tell people to do to look out for those types of distractions?
Yeah. You have to start with a good foundation. So you have to have your sets of standards, your boundaries, what you will not tolerate in the relationship. And that goes like with business and with your clients, and your own personal time, and, not extending your time over with your clients, and kind of being this people pleaser mentality. And that's the first thing you got to address, is like, I got to make sure that my square one is set there. And so then let's say you do have that set, and this person is kind of trampling over those boundaries, and, like, oh, let's go out and drink tonight. Let's go out and do that. Let's watch this movie and all this stuff, when you got, like, stuff that you got to attend to. And so you do it, you try to, make it work and kind of meet the party in both sides in the middle. But with you overextending yourself and going outside of that, it takes time away from what you really need to be doing. And so I was noticing that consistent pattern of me going, outside of what I need to be doing to kind of please this person. And once you realize that, if you have the right relationship they will be coming in because they believe in you so much that they will make that happen for you versus you having to like, oh, come please me, because that just doesn't make sense. So,
no, you're good.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it lines up when we don't have our priorities clearly defined.
Yeah.
And then once we have those priorities clearly defined, we know the actions that it'll take for us to get to that spot. And you brought a really good point up called being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And I find that a lot of us do that. Is that something that you struggled with?
Yeah. In the past, I was being a really bad people pleaser. I was, and especially in high school, I didn't really get out of that phase or become aware of it until I was like 21.
Interesting. So I was the same way. I was very much so a people pleaser. And I always found myself in suffering, doing things in hope that somebody else would do it for me. And I got to the point where I was done suffering and I was only going to do stuff for others if it's something that I chose to do and not desire an outcome back. Yeah. Now, if they didn't treat me the way that I wanted to be treated back, then I just stopped investing.
Yeah.
And it sounded like to me that's what you did with the former girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Now, how do you have more discernment for the people that you're choosing to invest in?
That's a very good question. That's a question that I think a lot of men need to hear and get the answer to. And it does come off of your personal experience because everybody's going to have their different things about what they're doing people-pleasing stuff with, whether it's their time, their money, or their energy and how they're texting and all that. And so in my future relationships going forward, I just like things to be made easy and made for me. Now, that could sound selfish. That could sound like, everything's got to be done for me. But I'm not really in the position right now where I have the energy and the time and the money to give out like that. Like I said, I was about to go homeless a couple weeks ago. And so it's all about what you can give and if they are worth it. And so what you can make worth it or how you decide if someone's worth it is, again, up to you. For me, that would look like someone spending their time with me or someone trying to build my life up versus take it down with like, let's go drinks, let's go do movies, let's go do that. So if it's like, hey, how can I help you with your business? How can I help you get some more money today? How can I free up some of your time? Mm-hmm. That would be things I would like, okay, yeah, I can put more energy and investment into this person.
You go to a lot of networking events, and I kind of met you at one actually.
Yeah.
How often do you actually hear people at those events ask you how they can help you?
Yeah, from rarely ever to never. Yeah, it's like maybe 5%.
Absolutely. I have found at those events, a lot of times it's a lot of people out trying to be interesting versus being interested in other people. Like, you want clients, you want people to like you, but yet you're out just blabbering about yourself.
Yeah.
And one of the things, you've been to one of my dinners that we highly encourage people is to be curious about other people. Now, I really like what you do. And what is your favorite story that you've gotten to tell about somebody else?
About somebody else? I mean, so for one of my clients, there's two main clients that I could really brag about or really say good things about in terms of the story, and that is one of them got to meet with a TDE producer. TDE is Top Dog Entertainment with Kendrick Lamar and Absol and all those people. And so we got to meet with Absol's producer and actually make beats and make songs with Absol's producer named Python P. And that's sick. And anytime I go out to LA, I'm now able to like go out and talk with him and, hey, let's meet up and make some beats or just, you know, shoot it up. And so that's one of the main ones too. And then as I was doing my personal development journey and my personal development like side of relationship stuff, I was following a lot of mentors on YouTube, one of which I actually met my client through because he was a guest on the podcast as well. And he said he was in Scottsdale, Arizona. And so I shot him a message. I was like, hey, I'm a videographer. I could shoot, you know, some of your social media stuff for you if you're interested in that. And he's like, dope, let's meet up and all that stuff. And so we did like a kind of bartering system where he was helping me with my personal development stuff and relationship stuff, and I was helping him with video stuff, as well as he did pay me for some videos and stuff as well, which was awesome because I was trying to get, you know, paid for sure. It's a hard world out there, but no. So with that, with the videos that we were creating and what we put together, with my videos specifically, in conjunction with him and his message and how he was developing the content, we were able to meet these mentors that we've never met in person before, but we always looked up to for like a year for me, but like 15 years for him.
Oh, wow.
With our content, they saw the content and was like, yo, let's bring you out to be a host speaker for our in-person event that we're having with all these other men that are paying to go to the event. And that was in Las Vegas. And
wow.
So, yeah, it was a great time with that. And it was just so crazy meeting all those people that I looked up to as well as he did. And we were just laughing and having a good time. Like, dude, I can't believe this is so real. Like, we're meeting these people and all this stuff. And so, yeah, really great stories on those two parts with, you know, what we've been able to create so far.
Sounds like it. Has there been an opportunity that you have ever missed and made changes in your life so you wouldn't miss it again?
No, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those, like in the 3-6 Mafia show, there was the City Morgue, which was a composure of two artists going together. And I didn't really network with them or their crew at all there. So that's another thing where I could have, you know, stepped up a little more to the plate and put myself out there more. Definitely a couple sales meetings and calls that I just didn't know how to navigate through, but I now have learned from those knowledges and move forward on how I can have a better sales process. And things that I've missed as well. I have to come back to that question, but that is those are a few things so far.
I mean, I think it's good. You're not always going to remember the bad stuff, and I don't think we should.
Right.
I think it should be something that's short-lived in our lives, that we learn from it and move on and don't hold on to.
Yeah.
So for that being that, then we'll just let that be. Hey.
That's good.
If there's some advice that you would like to give a man out there, what would it be?
The hardest thing for a man to be in this world is yourself. I feel like that we are always being tried or trampled on, especially in this like male versus female capacity, and women being the independent leaders and more of this 50-50 relationship dynamic being brought to the table. And what I understand is a woman being her most happiest in her feminine and her being in a feminine role. But that also requires a man to be a provider and a leader for that said woman, for her to, you know, do her job as well. And especially nowadays with this like soft boy era and kind of allowing women to take that leadership up, the women typically do not have full, complete respect for a man that is not setting those boundaries and setting those standards, and men are just kind of like letting the woman kind of lead the relationship throughout the whole thing. And so that comes into play just in your relationship life, also to your business and to your relationship with your family. And she's kind of like telling you can't go out to these parties and do all that, or you can't see these people, and it just all becomes a hassle for a man to do that thing. And so the number one advice that I give to men, or especially to my friends and my brothers and the people around me, I'm an only child, but I'm just saying my brothers, is just be yourself, stand on what you know, or stand on what you want, and learn more about yourself so that you can bring your authentic self to the table, so that it's not like you're faking or being something else. Like, this is what I have, this is what my standards are, this is what my foundation is, this is what my boundaries are. You either respect it or you have to leave the castle.
I think you made a very good point towards the boundaries. And if any man out there could do one thing in his life, is actually define those boundaries and support them, stick to them. Because when we start moving the boundaries and turning them down for people, people start to disrespect us because we don't respect ourselves.
Yep.
So if you're out there and you want to meet Ken, how do they meet you?
You can find me on Instagram at okken.media, or my personal Instagram. I've never really promoted this or plugged this.
Here we go, guys.
It's damn okken, like goddamn. It'll be DAMN okken.
All right, you heard it. Now, I want you out there to do me a solid and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because you have joined us at the Man Up and Own It show, where we tell the stories and describe the situations of the men and how they've overcome them, so you can hopefully do something better in your life. Thank you.